I think everybody's here. Yeah.
Right. Well, shall I just say then, before we start the meeting, we've had 2 requests to actually film this meeting tonight, or record it, should I say. So if anybody doesn't wish to have their faces recorded or whatever, they can turn their cameras off. And also, when they wish to speak, if they just unmute themselves, and I think Sue will be able to pick up that they're wanting to speak, and then it's up to them whether they wish to put the camera on if they wish to speak as such when we do the open forum. But other than that, we will start the meeting. We've got Reverend Colin here to start, so I will hand over for you to do prayers, please, Colin.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Tonight I just want to pray first of all for the situation in Vienna and the seriousness of the trauma that that city is facing, especially as it follows on so deeply from the ones in France. So tonight we pray for all those affected. We pray too for the people of Turkey, Izmir, and the tragedy of that collapsed building. But the hope that we have seen maybe this evening for a 3-year-old child that was raised out of the rubble after nearly 4 days. So we pray for that child and all those affected. We pray too for our local community here in the midst of the imminent further lockdown that we are facing. And we pray particularly for those who feel isolated, worried, anxious, concerned. For those worried about their jobs, paying rent, mortgages, and for the general health and well-being, and for those suffering mental health issues too, which are increasing. So Lord, we pray for all those who are affected by this. And finally, we pray for the work of this council, for this meeting tonight, for all that this agenda will bring, for the decisions that it will make, that it makes wise decisions for the benefit of this community. And finally, I just pray for peace for members of this council, both past and present. And I ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Saviour. Amen.
Amen.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Colin. And I did see on the news I think they've just got another little child out as well. There's a second one, which I think is well worth what you said.
Yeah.
We will start then with the agenda as we have it. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Seisden, Chris?
The Lays, as usual, and also my wife is a deputy on the IT planning.
Councillor Gourlay, Nigel?
My friend is, I've got a friend who's an adjoining landowner at the Lays allotments.
Okay. Councillor Walters, Stella?
I've also got a friend that's an adjoining owner of the Lays allotments.
Councillor Adstead, Jason?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Similar to Stella and Nigel, in is that I have a friend that has a land adjoining the Lays and anything to do with Chapeltown junior and senior football.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to number 2, the election of chairman. Now, obviously, the last meeting I chaired, because everything had happened, had gone off, we need to start, as we have with the planning and with the amenities, and start afresh. So, Councillor Gourlay?
Can I propose that you be chairman?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any others to say anything? Or, well, everybody in favour? Yeah, I'm going to vote for myself, obviously. Thank you very much for that. Well, with that, in my pack here of paperwork, I have a declaration of acceptance of office for here. I, Stuart Paul Young, having been elected to the office of chairman of Chaplainly Frith Parish Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as the conduct which is expected of members of Chaplainly Frith Parish Council. And I will sign it, and this is how we've been doing it at other councils. And then this will go to Sue and be kept as a record in the office. So I thank you for that. I would just like to say a few words before we move on at this point, because last time I was really put on the spot because I did not know what was going on. And I think it's only fair to say that I will take this position as chairman because I do not want to see the council fall down, and all the good things that have been done in the past by many of our past members on the council, a lot of them who unfortunately are not with us now, far too many to name obviously, and some that are still with us who are still interested in what happens in the parish. So I'd just like to put it on record of thanks to all the people who have worked on the council in the past, and hopefully, well, there's other things that are going to come up in the meeting tonight. I will do some explanations so that people understand, seeing as we've got quite a few members of the public here, where the council actually is at with its legal situation at the moment. So with that, I'll move on to election of vice chairman. Just one other thing. I probably won't call everybody by councillor on that. I'll just probably use your first names if that's all right with you, because that was what I did last time as chairman when I was chairman before. So Stella?
I'd like to nominate Jason, please.
Nigel?
Can I second him?
Any other nominations? Well, can we go to a vote then on that one, that Jason is elected as vice chair?
Yeah.
All five of us. Your little bit of paper now for you, Jason.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, councillors. It's a position that I will look after until May, until we get some more councillors. However, I haven't got the paperwork that I need to sign.
Oh. Right.
It was in the pack,
No, I can't find it, Sue.
right? Do you want to repeat it after me?
Yes, why not?
Okay. So it's I, Jason Adsad,
I, Jason Adsad,
having been elected to the office of vice chairman
having been elected to the office of vice chairman
of Chaplainly Frith Parish Council,
of Chaplainly Frith Parish Council,
declare that I will take that office
declare that I will take that office
upon myself
on myself
and will duly and faithfully
and duly and faithfully
fulfil the duties of it
fulfil the duties of it
according to the best of my judgment and ability.
according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Okay. And I'll have to just get you a form to sign then. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sue.
Right. Well, congratulations, Jason. And let's hope we can do some more good as we've been trying to do this last month.
Super.
We will move on now to the police matters. Now, we have been told by the police that they cannot attend these meetings because they're not allowed for some reason to use Zoom. Like with the Borough Council, I have to use Teams. So part of this is going to be, you've had a letter in your pack from the PC of the North Division, and I've 2 or 3 things to bring up to date for you. Shall I start with those and then I'll ask if anybody else has got anything to add?
Yeah.
The main one that has been mentioned that we have brought up with the police is the seats on the marketplace outside the co-op. The children were picking them up, taking them under the veranda to try and get out of the rain. and also they've been vandalising the new dentist sign. So that has been reported to the police. We have now bolted down the seats so that they can't move them around. Hopefully they won't vandalise the sign anymore. So hopefully that will alleviate that. The police are happy about that. The other one that has been brought to us mainly with the police involvement is at the side of our building, which is the Undertakers, the outhouse there. There has been selling of drugs out of there, and the police are aware. They have a registration number and they do have an idea of who it is. So they are taking that up as we speak. So I don't know what the outcome will be, but hopefully he will let us know. And the other one that came to the police and us and everywhere was the yellow boxes, the Amazon boxes on the marketplace by the co-op, that the people were congregating around there and parking, how can I say, erratically to be able to collect stuff. They are actually in breach of planning regulations and they are on a conservation area, so they do have to be moved. And the co-op are looking at putting them round the back under a light, under a camera. As such, people can use the car park to get to them, but it will still need planning permission. So that was what I was asked to report back, that the police have been looking into at the moment. Nigel, do you have your hand up?
Yeah. So I've been talking to Rob Bartram, PC Rob Bartram, about various issues, but he's made 5 requests of the parish council, and you've got a copy of those requests in the briefing pack for this meeting. The first is that he would like us to ask High Peak Borough Council to send more parking enforcement officers to Chapel on Frith. I just wondered whether we could ask Sue to write to High Peak Borough Council and make that request.
We could ask Sue to do that, but there wouldn't be a lot of point as such, because it has now been taken over by County Council. They've handed it on. So we'd have to write to County Council.
So the second request that he made was to ask DCC about the double yellow lines on the junction of Hordens Road and Manchester Road, to put those in. So could we write to DCC about the enforcement officer and the double yellow lines?
I don't see why not. I have seen that Councillor Perkins, our county councillor, should be here at this meeting tonight. So with that, we can have words with our county councillor as well. He will have heard what's been said, and we can do both a double-pronged attack probably on that one.
The third request that he made was that we try to push along the CCTV cameras on Chapel Main Street. I can see that Chris has got his hand up, and I know that he's got some news about this.
Yes, if I could just intercede. I've been chasing up the new owner of the King's Arms, and also the Licensed Department of High Peak Council. Quite a few months ago, I got the new owner to agree that he could go back on. He's taken all this time, having a bit of gentle head prodding together to get the license signed, but it has just been signed. So now there is nothing to stop it going up very soon, and that's, to me, is I think some very we'll see as excellent news. But the license is now signed. It's all legal. It'll be going up very soon.
And finally, I mean, there were a couple of small issues. He wanted to raise the issue of litter in public places, and whether we could fund more bins. Now, I know that at the last meeting, we agreed that we would gift a litter bin to Morrison's. But that means that we lack a flying bin. I just wonder whether we could agree to fund a replacement for the flying bin.
Mm.
With that, Nigel, one point about that is the Borough Council have to agree in the respect of where the bins are situated, because it has to be on their rounds for them to pick up the rubbish as such. And they do worry about the flying bins not being heavy enough as such for vandalism or throwing them around. What I would suggest on that one is that we take that to the amenities committee and see where we were thinking that these weren't going, and then have a look at whether the Borough Council would provide any more, or whether or not we do provide them, as long as they will collect them. Would be a suggestion that I'd add to you on that. Chris?
Okay, two things. One, it's everything's been agreed with Morrison's. If it goes through today, I think it's on. When we okay the amenities minutes, my assistant is all ready to come and collect it from the town hall and take it to Morrison's. They'll put it in. But I would like to see how it performs, because yes, I want us to replace it, but we just like to see, all right, is that design perfect? Do we just need to maybe, get one that's slightly different? But on the same subject, wife and I have managed to get a sponsored bin next to the station, which is very good for the dog walkers, especially because the station wouldn't let anyone put any dog stuff in their bins, and so people didn't want to divert from their route to use the station bins. So now it is on the main footpath, and it has received quite a lot of good thoughts. So I just thought I would mention that as well. That's been in a couple of months now.
I think the best thing is to go through the amenities with that and see where we get to, because I think we'll need some form of a thank you or a letter or something from Morrison's to say that we are all right to put that on that forecourt there, where we've decided to make it legal. Nigel.
So finally, can Sue write back to Rob Bartram and say thank you for his email and we've acted on it?
Yeah.
I think that would be wise. Right, have we any other, Stella?
Can we make sure that we get a letter to Morrison's if that's what we need, and a reply before the next amenities meeting? Then if we've got to have that before, we can put the bin there, so it's not going on.
It's all agreed, Stella. It's all agreed.
All right, but
It would be nice if we could send a letter thanking them. If maybe would everybody be happy? But it has to go through the amenities when we okay the amenities minutes. But assuming we can, I mean, I presume everybody's happy with a letter, and maybe we could sort that out.
We just have to formalise it, Chris. That's the whole point. Yeah, and I think it would probably be nice as well if we could put a sticker on the bin that it says that it has been provided by Chapel and Frith Parish Council for the use of. Then people might not vandalise it the same then. So is that all on police matters from everybody? If that's the case, we can reply to PC Bartram on that one. So we're moving to number 5, open forum. Now, Sue, have we anybody?
Nobody's contacted me before the meeting to say that they wanted to speak.
Right, so we have nobody for the open forum. With that, we'll move on to, we've got 4 sets of minutes to receive, and then we'll go through them. We've got some answers as we go through. So unless there's any clarifications on spelling, could we have somebody to say they receive the minutes of the full council meeting on the 6th of October?
Aye.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Stella. All in favour of that, thank you. The minutes of the planning meeting held on the 13th of October.
Yeah.
Stella and Nigel. Thank you. And then to receive the minutes of the amenities committee held on the 16th, and you should have had in today the ones from the 23rd, which was the overrun. Thank you, Nigel. And I'll
Query on one of the minutes, Stuart. Do we do this afterwards?
Right, go on.
It's it was about the bowling club. It's worded wrong that we said we'd meet with the bowling club, but I've forgotten if that was in the amenities or the full council. But
Yeah, one of them, Chris. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Well, I say there are some answers when we get there. So I can say to you, I did meet with the park keeper and the bowling club treasurer and secretary. So we have got some answers for you on that one when we get there. So if we go through for the matters arising now, on the first one, on the full council on the 6th, is there, well, there'll be nothing on page 1. Is there anything on page 2? Nigel?
So the Bowling Green Lane.
Which number are you, which number are you under?
21103. I had a report
Oh, yes.
of a further instance on Bowling Green Lane where a group of lads were just loutish and horrible and caused damage to a house on Bowling Green Lane, and the occupant ended up having to dial 999 against the lads. I mean, I received this telephone call, and the request from that lady was that we lock the gates at night on Bowling Green Lane.
I don't know how we're going to facilitate that, to be honest, because the police have come to us in the past and said locking of the gates precludes them from getting in. And if you lock those gates there, it'll just mean that it's like a courtyard for them to congregate in. I think the lady did the right thing by ringing the police and reporting it. I'm not sure locking the gate is the answer, and who's going to lock it, who's going to unlock it, what's it going to cost, and on these dark nights. And if you got to a gate that you found was locked when it's meant to be a public park, I'm not sure we could actually do it.
Of course you can. The lady concerned is here. Would you let me, are you going to let me talk?
No, I'm sorry, I can't do.
Why?
You should have asked to speak in the open forum at the beginning.
Well, nobody told me that that's what I had to do. This is the first time I've ever been to a council meeting. It's the first time this sort of thing has ever happened to me. I do not know your forums. I do not know your.
Can I propose that we suspend standing orders to let the lady speak in this instant, please?
I second that.
Yeah, I'll let.
Thank you.
Right, well, on that one, if we're going to suspend standing orders and reverse back to the open forum where the public participation is, I don't know your name, sorry, my dear. I'm trying to read on me.
My name
just says Pixel on here for me, so
sorry. It took me a while to get around this. My name's Michelle Frisby. I live at the Coach House on Bowling Green Lane, which is.
Well, you have 3 minutes in which to address the council.
Okay, right. 3 minutes to address the council. This situation has been getting worse over the 6 years that I have lived here. 3 weeks ago, we had our kitchen windows smashed. Last weekend, there were youths, as per usual, in the park, and they are drunk on weed, doing their normal, what they do every weekend, louting and shouting. I was upstairs at 10 to 9, and the youths were outside, and they tried to break into the house by battering the door underneath my bedroom window. There was another bang later. The youths ran off. They upended the bins at the top of the street. They also banged on windows and tried to kick their gates in, their fence in. That's the house on the left-hand side as you go up. She was, at the same time as I was reporting to the police, she was also reporting to the police. We had 999 calls at a similar sort of time. Her other half, their bedroom, one of their windows faces down. Managed to get some CCTV, and he will also corroborate that there was an tall 18-year-old who was doing most of the kicking of my doors and her doors. And then, just to top it all off, they pulled the boiler flue out. We could have been killed. The police were very good. They responded very well. And I understand that it's hearsay from a third party that they took 4 people away. And they have passed the video camera in the incident to the police concerned. So hopefully some action will be taken against the scrotes. If you lock that gate down there, it will stop them using it as a rat run, which is exactly what they do at the moment. The police can't catch them because within 10 seconds, they're either up the top in causing a riot outside the co-op, or they've disappeared into the park. It's one gate. People can go through, access it, the park, through other gates. One gate, and I am quite prepared to lock that gate myself to stop them running up and down this alley and using it as a escape mechanism, or whatever it is they like to call it. And they've been causing this sort of offence for the last 6 years, but it's getting worse. It started with knocking on windows and eggs, but this has been getting worse every year, and this is intolerable. I don't want to live here anymore unless you do something about it.
Well, I was just going to say, thank you for that. You've just managed to do that in 3 minutes. You must have practiced that.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Nigel.
I think there's a few points raised by Mrs. Frisby's speech. The first is that she's kindly offered to do the locking of the gates. So if we were to get say a motorcycle chain lock, we could give her one set of keys and give the park keepers another set of keys. The other thing which I obviously thought about was that we are going into lockdown, and these kids should not be hanging around in groups. The maximum that they should be allowed is one other person out of their household to do exercise with. Now, we need to play our parts, just as we tried to discourage people using the parks during the last lockdown. I think we should be doing the same now.
Can I just ask Sue to come in here in the respect of the legality of, because of what's gone in the past about locking gates and that, where we stand on this one? Do we need to see our insurance, or, you know, where do we stand with it?
Sorry, I'll just, so you can see me. In the past, we have locked them. We've locked all the gates in the past. We paid somebody to do it. I think you'll find that people will still get in, but we can run it past our insurers. But I can't see there'll be a problem if you wanted to do that.
Well, we'd have to. I'd say it'd have to be a decision of the 5 of us in the respect of the times that we wanted it as well, because there would have to be some form of time because of other people using it. It's like locking up the public toilets and things like that. We'd have to actually state a timing, wouldn't we? Nigel?
Well, can I suggest that we go back to the old bylaws of the park, which is we lock them during the hours of darkness?
Stella?
How many gates are there actually into the park, and would it make a big difference if this one is locked to the dog walkers and everybody else who uses it?
They literally only have to walk 40 yards up the road and go down by the photographers.
Can I make a suggestion then, if this helps the council in the respect of, do we try it on a trial basis, say for 3 months or for 6 months, something like that, to see how it helps this lady out and see how many reports back that we get that they say they can't get through with the dogs, and revisit it. We're allowed to revisit something with our standing orders and everything within 6 months. So could I make the suggestion we do it and try it for 6 months? Any views on that?
I'll second that.
Jason?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, I'll agree. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
wouldn't like to be going through that every day.
No,
or every
I
week.
do have sympathy for the lady. Sorry, I didn't realise it was you that was there, Mrs. Pixel. But Chris, are you all right with that?
Is
You're
mute.
muted.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'd have probably, personally, I'd have gone for a slightly shorter trial period, but I'm happy, with this.
Well, as it is, it's over the winter months, isn't it? And we've got a month of lockdown, as Nigel said anyway. So, Jason?
Could I just add that this is the third type of incident that we've discussed in recent months surrounding the park. And we can keep taking all the actions that we're taking, but ultimately we're not getting to the bottom of the behaviour. My suggestion would be is that we drop a line into the school. In fact, we drop a line into both schools and ask that if we can get all of the pupils briefed as to what's happening, the effect that those things are having on people, and ask them if they could just, try to buy in to be better citizens when they're in the Memorial Park and surrounding areas.
Well, from what I know in the past, Karen Green, the PCSO and that, and previous ones, they've gone into the school and tried to do that. That is what they do each September when they get a new year moving through. But it's not a bad idea to reiterate it. Nigel?
I'm happy to draft a letter which I'll shove around on email to the rest of you so that you can agree, and let's get it out to the head teachers.
Back to Jason.
Last year or the year before, I spent a day in Long Lane with the Derbyshire County Council War on Waste people. I'm quite happy to go in alongside PCSO Karen Green into these schools and talk to the kids. I'm happy to spend a day in there with them, explaining, the downfalls of what we see in the increased levels of antisocial behaviour. I'm happy to do that in the high school too. So if you need somebody from the council to support her, if you can't make it, Stuart, I'm happy to go along.
Well, I think that would be very kind of you, Jason, as you are chair of amenities. I think that's a very sensible way forward. So you're proposing, are you then, Nigel, that we get a chain to lock that up and 2 keys, one for the park keeper, one for this lady, and we'll decide what time are we saying? 9 o'clock at night, or because you see it goes dark a lot earlier now, doesn't it? What time are you thinking, Nigel?
I would say that the kids tend to start gathering around 7.
So you're going to say from 7 o'clock, you're thinking 7 at night till 7 in the morning then, something like that?
Yeah, and to be honest, I can't imagine that many dog walkers find it particularly pleasurable going in the park after the groups of youths start gathering.
So you're proposing that we do this then, Nigel,
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
I'll
Stella, you're
second that.
seconding. Are we all in favour of this as a motion?
Time are we going
With
for?
there only being the 5 of us. Sorry,
Yeah, what
Chris?
time are we going for?
So we go for 6 months.
For a 6 months time period, yes.
Chris, have you got an alternative?
No, not really. I'm just trying to help everybody along. That's all.
Well, if we hit any brick walls with it or whatever, we'll have to revisit it. That's all. It's there for a trial period, and we can let the police know and hope that they join in and do watch some of this.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We'll move back. We'll move back to back through to the minutes now. We're on to page 2. As we said, we've just done what was on the police matters bit. Anything else on page 2? Anything on page 3?
Stuart,
Yeah, I'm just having a look myself what I've got ticked. Chris?
it's actually 2111, but it actually goes over to the beginning of page 4. It's just if Nigel and Jason could just confirm what they proposed and seconded, because I don't think that was what we actually was the intention.
Yes, I think it's just a little confusingly written that we didn't propose and second a motion to purchase it. We proposed and seconded a motion to discuss it.
This is where you're on about the yeah, I see. Yeah, which we have started to discuss at the amenities meeting. So for a matter of clarification, it wasn't a motion for the purchase of a bowling green machine. It was to investigate, I think was the better word, because we wanted to speak to the bowling club and to this park keeper to see which was the best machine for the job, didn't we? Yeah. So you'd like that to be changed, obviously, from purchase to investigate. That's fine. You've caught that one, have you, Sue?
Yeah.
Right. So with that, we move on to page 4. Now, I have a report as such for you, and you don't need to declare an interest on this one, Chris. On 21-114, the Leys allotments, and that's where I said I'd be explaining some things tonight. As the Leys allotments, we cannot discuss them or make a decision on them till after May of next year, when we've had an election and got some more people on the council, because the council needs to be quorate, which is the 5 of us, to make a decision that is legal and binding. As it goes, Councillor Sizeland has to declare an interest to do with the Leys, so it means there will only be 4 of us, and that means we cannot make a decision because there's not enough of us. We will not be quorate. So I'm proposing that as far as the Leys goes, unless it's actually earth-shatteringly that it's blown up or something, we take it actually off the agenda until May of next year, when we have sufficient people on the council to be able to do something with it, because we can't make a decision. Nigel?
I think that there are still minor issues around it that the amenities committee will want to discuss.
Well, what I've done for the amenities agenda side of things, when you look at it, I've spoken and found out that we can, because obviously all of us have other interests as such within the parish at times, we can, with the tramway and the wall that we're probably talking about down there, we can all discuss that, because obviously we have the allotments down there, the land is down there, but the wall and the tramway is a heritage asset for the town, and we all have, everybody who lives here has an interest in that as such. So we can still talk about that and make a decision on those. It's just the Leys land itself. Does that clarify it better?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I can understand why we're a quorate if Chris has to leave, but it just leaves a sour taste in the mouth that we're going to miss another growing season on the Leys.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but that is the position that we have as a council we have been put in, and we have to abide by the rules, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, if we'd have been able to have an election to replace Councillor Lawley and what have you, that would have been different. We'd have been at 6 probably. And if, well, it'll come up in a minute, but if people hadn't all asked for the elections and we were able to do co-options, we would have been about out of that. But unfortunately, that is how it lands us at the moment. Sorry, that sounds a pun on allotments being land, but that's where we're at. So I just thought I'd explain it because obviously there's quite a few members of the public here listening and it is being filmed, but that's where we stand. Right. Moving on. Any more on page 4? Oh, I've already mentioned about the lockers. So that's that. Moving on to page 5. Anything? No. And then that's the end of that one. So now I'll pass over to you, Jason, because were you there? Who was there? Oh, no, Chris. Chris and Jason, yes. I know I started the planning meeting as such, so that we got a chair and a vice chair. So I'll hand over to Chris first, because he took on chair of that, didn't he, Chris?
Yes, there's nothing sort of exceptional there. The only thing was there was a late one came in for the primary school, and because it was last minute, we deferred that to the next planning meeting. It means we just made the comment a day or so late, but we've Emma's contacted them to tell them that to make sure it's okay. So we just deferred a late one, but I think all the rest are self-explanatory.
Well, if I put my planning head on from the borough side of things, I can explain a little bit more to you on that one. With that being for the school and the extension of the school, the people who live around there obviously are consultees. The parish council is a consultee, and even the borough council is a consultee on this one. We don't have the right to say yes or no because it is a school and it is on school on county land, and it's for the use of schools. It's county council have their own planning department that decides it. So apart from any of our consultee things that we might say right or wrong that we want them to look at, they will make the decision anyway. It's taken actually out of our hands. So I just thought that might be helpful for some people on that one. So with that, we'll move on to the amenities. Now, Jason.
Yes.
I will hand over to you for this one. Well, for both of them, as you might say. And I think the easiest way is just to carry on one to the other as such.
Okay, so are you ready for me to take over then, Stuart?
Yep, your turn.
Okay, thank you. So on the 16th of October, the Amenities Committee met for what was the first of 2 amenity meetings that we needed to hold. There were lots and lots on the agenda that needed to be discussed, and we couldn't fit them all into one meeting. So we held the second part on the 23rd. I think everything on the notes is pretty much self-explanatory. There are lots of things that were discussed that were actioned, where we've all got small actions to carry out before we meet again. So there's not a great deal to report back on, Stuart. There'll be more from the next meeting, I suspect.
Well, there's only one that I would like to report back to you as such, that I did go and have the meeting with the bowling club. I said I would explain.
Yeah.
And they did put some prices, the park keeper put some prices through to do it, as you remember at the amenities meeting, to start the repair, maintenance and probably upgrading, it will be the final answer to it, of the canopy cum terrace piece that's outside. And as it goes, we've bought the materials for the bottom half to be repaired. They've started this week on Monday while the weather was good, ripping out all the other. I did go and have a look at it, what they were doing, and it's a good job they have started it, because when they started clearing out round it, where the wood is, the canopy did start sagging at one end. It was absolutely rotten, so we were wise to go with some maintenance on it as such, and we've come to the agreement that at the moment we're paying for the materials. They're actually providing all the workmen to do it. It doesn't affect us on our insurance at all, because they have their own public liability insurance for working on the green and that, and they want to put new sleepers along the edge while they're doing for the edge of the green. So the work has actually started on that one as we speak, and it's looking a lot, well, it's looking like a building site at the moment, but it will look a lot better. So I hope that's a good update for you.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. Yeah, Chris.
It was just on the sports ribbon in 21/142. It actually says something different to it, that we're going to get quotes and that, but like Stuart just said, is what we agreed at the meeting. So basically, I think we just need to maybe amend the 21/142 of the minutes, because it's a bit different to what we actually agreed.
My understanding of that it reads right. I think that's what we agreed, isn't it? They did the obtained quotes, and we've agreed it.
Yeah, the only one that was altered on that one is on the other set of minutes as such, in the respect of, I think Nigel Gawley said it, we'd do the wall piece with the wood that's all rotten, and then we'd look at the roof and that in the new year.
Yeah, sure. The only thing that concerns me of what you just said there is that you'd mentioned that the roof was sagging. How's it been left to get into such poor disrepair?
I think you'll find it was just the downspout from the guttering and the ground that was holding it up.
Right.
And when you clear out the leaves and the rubbish from around it, ready to concrete in the new base, it sort of sunk into the ground slightly. The wood was completely rotten at the bottom.
Right. Would that benefit from the maintenance schedule?
I would imagine so, yes. And from that one, just to say, I have spoken to the park keeper, and he is intending putting us that together for the bowling green and everything, ready for an amenities meeting so we can discuss it. That's in the pending tray that he's putting together for you.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of any further business, really, I think the next council meeting will probably be more informative than this one. This is just really actions that we're dealing with.
Yeah. So has anybody else any questions on either of the amenities ones?
No.
As such? Well, technically with that then, if we've got a proposal in the second, which we had for the minutes, if everybody's happy with that, with us now being quorate, Sue can go ahead with the park keeper and work out a plan of action for all the jobs that we said need doing within the park, and get a time scale and get any quotes. So we've got our 3 quotes and that, so that we can move ahead. And then we'll have for the next amenities meeting, we'll have not just the 5-year plan, Jason, we were talking about, but a plan of action of what we can do now and what we can do later.
Right, fabulous.
Everybody happy with that? And that means then Sue and Emma know where we're going with that. Right, we'll move on to number 10 then, which, well, there's 2 parts to number 10. I'll set off and then I'll hand over to Sue to actually say a couple of them. Number 10 is to do with the by-elections and co-options. Well, as you will have realised, I don't know whether press releases are actually going to be of any use tonight on this one, because it made it out onto Facebook and Twitter and everywhere, and onto all the social media sites and that. There has been sufficient names and numbers come in to the election department at the Borough Council that all the vacancies that were dropped upon us at the last meeting by the resignations for whatever reason their reasoning being, means that all seats will have to be contested at an election in next May. So we will not actually be co-opting anybody onto the council. So as would be the 5 of us, we're stuck with this till next May until we have elections. And we just pray, I have spoken to with the elections department, because obviously there's the county council elections and there's the police and crime commissioner elections as well. We're just praying that they can work out how to do an election for all these things next year. The answer to a lot of people's questions that I've received being out and about is, how do they find out if they want to become a councillor as such? And the thing is, come next year, there is a timescale that has to be worked to, and it will be put out on the social media side of ours and the notice boards and everything, because the borough council have to call the elections. People have to put their names forward with a certain amount of electors with them, saying they want them to go forward for election. And then the borough council has a time scale that they have to work to by law. And well, we will just have to work to that with them as such. So it's a case of anybody who's here tonight wondering, it's a case of watching the space or actually asking the questions in the respect of, are we nearly there, or what do we need to do? But a lot of it is all legal, has to be run through Derbyshire, the Borough Council's election department. So that is really just an update on that and a bit of an explanation. But then, Nigel, you have a motion in on this one.
Yes, really, the purpose behind this motion was, I mean, really, it was about cleaning up the co-options process, making it more understandable to people who might have stood it if the co-options had gone ahead. And I mean, really, the root cause of it was that I disliked the last 2 processes that we ran. So I came and put together a process that I thought was okay, and then went to Derbyshire Association of Local Councils, asked their advice, and they came back with quite a bit of advice, and I incorporated every point that they raised. And so now we have a what's before you tonight is a bulletproof co-option process where every part of it happens in the open forum of the council, and everyone can see the inner workings of the council when we come next to co-opt a councillor.
Yeah.
Well, as I've just explained, we won't be doing that at the moment. That might just be sitting on the shelf till next May. It depends how many people put the names forward. But it has been through DELC, etc. So you've got the motion in and you're proposing this, that we adopt this as the policy. Have we got a seconder for it, Chris?
Yeah, I'm happy to, because it's transparent. I don't think the previous one was transparent enough. You know, this is to me more legal than that. So we just need to get everything proper, you know, according to the best methods used in the country, basically. And I think this does it for this.
Stella, did you wish to speak?
No, I was just going to second it because I've read the old one and the new one. I've never really had anything to do with the council to this time, till this election. So I do think this is the right way to go. Follow the advice of the people that are put there to advise us.
Councillor Adstead?
No,
You wish to...
I'm fine, thank you, Chair. I read the exchange of emails. I thought Nigel did exactly what he said on the tin, and yeah, I think it's a suitable motion from him. Happy to support.
Well, I've got just one question to ask. Do people think with specific things like this that we should have a recorded vote, or is it, if everybody's just in favour, are you happy? Because this thing is, it's coming up in one of these others about how do we record when there's only 5 of us? Is it classed as the full council, or is it just the 5 of us? Do we actually need a recorded vote to say which of us has agreed to which motion?
Well, as it stands, Chair, the 5 of us are the full council.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry about that. I'm being pedantic with the wording, you see.
yeah. Well, I mean, if we all agree, we don't really need to do it, record it, and we can just all agree, can't we?
We can on this one, yes.
Yeah, I think Nigel's put a perfect word in. Can we just? I think we just don't change any of that, because we're going to sort of. It's a bit like standing on a butterfly. We'll upset something else somewhere along the way. So just it's. I think he's got it all. Looked at by Dal.
Well, it's been proposed and seconded, and everybody is in favour of it.
Yeah.
So that will be taken as the co-options policy, which goes along all the other policies and will be reviewed like the other policies are, as and when necessary. Well, each year, as and when the time arises.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, number 11, the town hall loss of earnings. Well, you've all got a sheet there that's been supplied. Now, I know that a lot of the people who are here won't have the sheet or whatever, but I did just want to bring to people's attention and to the public's attention as such that COVID is costing everybody a lot of money. We all know that. It's attacking and affecting all of us. But with the town hall's loss of earnings from the 23rd of March, when we went into lockdown, to what will be the beginning of this next lockdown this week, as such, the government did, through the borough council and that, give out these £10,000 grants to a lot of people. Some didn't get 10, some got 5. There's different amounts. We were fortunate that we got 10. But as you will see there, because people haven't been able to use the town hall and rent the town hall, whether it be for weddings or the fitness classes or whatever, we are now at £9,994 loss of earnings in that time. So we've eaten into the whole of that £10,000 just by the loss of earnings on the town hall. So anything in the future, we are going to have to see if we can get any more out of the government, the borough or county, wherever it comes from. And well, we're going to have to really look at our budget when we do our budget setting in the new year. I just wanted to make people aware of that. I don't know if anybody else has got anything they wish to say. I don't know whether Sue wishes to say anything else.
No, I don't think so. We have had some hirers back, but obviously from Thursday that will stop for a period now.
So with that, we'll move on to number 12, which Nigel, it's you again.
Well, this is, am I muted? No. So this is just lovely, really. This is where we get to honour one of Chapel's greatest institutions, which is Derek Ely, who's a war hero, a stalwart of the Royal British Legion, and I want to propose that we make him an honorary freeman of Chapel on Lefrith.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with this one and your next one as such, Nigel, I will say I don't particularly have any problems with the motion that you brought forward, and I'm quite willing to second this motion that you brought forward for Derek to receive this, because as it goes, we haven't done a lot of things for quite a few years now. I think with the next one, when you talk about the community awards, I think it was back in 2016 when we last did anything. I would like us to have a look at in the new year, setting up the committee again and doing it properly, because I've looked and the people who were on the committee to decide all these things and bring it to the council aren't with us anymore. So yes, we do need to look at it. So I'm quite willing to second your motion here for Derek, because in my words would be Derek's Chapel #1 character, especially as in a couple of weeks he's 103. It's amazing, and we all love him, his stories, just love him to bits with everything that he's done. He's such a grand old gentleman, as far as that goes. And I mean gentlemen when I say gentlemen. So I will second this, and I think the people in Chapel will be very thankful that the parish council has done it, and we just need to be able to sort it out, because obviously with COVID, normally we would have a party of some description or whatever, but I think we can probably get a scroll to him to say that he has been given the honorary townsman, but then we'll have to see how COVID goes and move into the new year with some form of celebration for him. Chris?
It's a fantastic thing. You know, he deserves it completely. I just second it what everybody else has said, and I just noticed Colin the Vicar had just used the thumbs up sign that you can put up on your screen. So Colin is happy with it as well, and I'm sure that I can't see anyone in Chapel who won't be happy with it. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I've got to say, Stella, your turn.
Yeah, I was just going to say I agree. I just can't see why he hasn't had it before, but he should have got it for his 100th birthday, in my opinion. But there you are. At least he's getting it now.
Well, I can tell you on that one, there was a lot of discussions when it was his 100th birthday, and the Borough Council didn't even want to name a road after him because they said it had to be somebody who had passed away before they'd name a road after them. And I managed to get the Borough Council to change their rules so that Derek was actually here and he was able to unveil his own road naming sign and everything on the new ones on Long Lane. And Derek was very chuffed with that because it's actually got his badge of honour, as you call it, from his regiment on the road sign as well. So did Colin want to say anything then by putting the thumbs up as our vicar? I'll let him speak if he wants to.
No.
Okay.
No.
with that-
Thank you, Stuart, for allowing me, but I'm fine. I just wanted to acknowledge basically that that's a great thing to do, and I applaud it. Yes.
Thank you. Well, with that one, we will sort that out then, Nigel, and everything, because obviously I do have a scroll here that was my mother's and everything. We can sort out something proper for Derek, and we can let him know. Might even get a picture of him at his front gate or something like that, because he's not been leaving his house to the bookies and everything, but we'll sort something out. So with that, we'll move on to number 13, which is another motion from yourself, Nigel, but I think, I don't know whether it was from you or from me, because I'd mentioned these next two as well, so I'll pass
I
over
think
to
we all
you.
had.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for you to propose it, Stuart, for Ted, and for Stella to propose the one for Gemma. But really, it was just two amazing people from Chapel on Frith. Ted Fell, he's done so much for the community. You know, been policeman for donkey's years, and I'll let you say more about him, Stuart.
Well, I've got to say, I've known Ted a long while, and he was in the Secret Service stuff, which you can't talk about until we get to the 50 years of whatever the government act is, when he can actually speak about it. And the stuff he's done is unbelievable. And hot off the press today, I can actually say people will know that he's moved out of Chapel now, and he's moved into the Chelsea Pensioners down in London. Unfortunately, somebody in the Chelsea Pensioners has got COVID and they're actually in lockdown. He can't come out. So he has been for a fitting for his red coat and everything, but he won't be able to be here on Sunday for Armistice Day, because obviously with the COVID lockdown and with them having it at the Chelsea Pensioners home, we did just say, I did speak with Sally earlier and we sent our best wishes to him and hope he's all right. But I just think it would be lovely for us to get some form, because we've had awards that have been made in glass. If we could just look at what we can do with these awards, whether it's a scroll or something that he can have sat on his mantelpiece, so that he reminds him very much of Chapel, of his home, and where we all think a lot of him for everything he's done.
And Stella, do you want to say something about Gemma, who's just done amazing stuff for people with end-stage cancer?
Yeah, well, I mean, Gemma, everyone knows Gemma. She's suffering with stage 4 cancer. She doesn't know how long, but she fights and fights, and she raises money, and she raises awareness for stage 4. She comes up with packs and sends them all over the country out of her own time. She spends hours and hours with her daughters and her husband, who are great support to her. And I just think a lot of people would go into a shell, and she's just trying to help everybody else and not, you know, not worrying about herself. And I just think I get quite emotional because I think she's such a very brave woman, and I'd never met her till I moved to Chapel, so I didn't know her, but I just think she deserves some kind of recognition off the people of Chapel.
And once again, I will back what Stella said there, because I've known Gemma and her family for a long while, and my daughter is a friend of hers. They went on holiday the other year before all this kicked off for her and everything, and it's just unbelievable what she's managed to achieve. So I have no qualms about this one either. So it would just be, I'd just like to say that we will do these 3 things as the 5 of us as a council now, but in the new year we'll sort out because we did have a community awards committee, and we'll sort out that next year we can put something into the press, and we can try and get some other people who have done things, because I'm sure by the time we've sorted out this COVID lot, there will be other people that warrant something for what they've done.
I agree, and it should never have stopped, but it has, so it's up to us to get it up and running again. So we recognise the people in our parish that do well for the people.
So once again, we'll sort something out wording wise and what we can do, because I do believe our clerk, our deputy clerk, her husband received one several years ago before she was even with him, so she could probably dust off whatever the award was, and we can have a look, see if we can sort the wording out or something similar. So I'm sure we can deal with that. If are you all happy with that? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with that one, we'll move on.
Chair, if I could just,
Colin?
forgive me, I'm going to have to leave you, unfortunately, so I don't want to be rude and just disappear off the screen, and I just wanted to make sure you know I was leaving for good reasons, that was all. But thank you, as always, for allowing me to hear this council meeting. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll see you in a month's time, Colin.
Indeed. Thanks a lot.
If not before. Right, thank you.
If not before, obviously, but yeah.
Thank you.
Right. We'll move on then to number 14, which, once again, is you, Nigel.
Yes.
Been busy this month.
You've done a lot of writing this month.
I think there were many issues with with our current standing orders, including some places where we've replaced parts of the statutory text, which we must have, with parts that aren't particularly lawful. And I think this has been done for a number of reasons. You know, I think just that the changing of standing orders has become politicized in recent years, and we've been fighting battles through changing our rules. So I wanted to do something which was not based on what I think our rules should be, but to go to an outside body. So I went to the National Association of Local Councils, took their model standing orders and replaced the whole lot of our standing orders with just what they consider to be absolutely the best practice. So I propose these new standing orders.
Yeah.
Well, Stella?
Well, I've sat and read these. I've gone through them twice this afternoon, and I think, you know, going back by the old ones, I mean, obviously they've been changed over the years, not just the last 2 or 3 years. I do agree that we've got to follow the now rules, because otherwise we get in a mess, predicament, and arguments occur. So if we do it all legal, then there can't be any comeback. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. Well, I expected people to have opinions. Chris?
Exactly the same. This is best practice. This is how it should be done. We've not made up any of our own, which are semi-legal. This is what we're supposed to have. These are the best practice ones, and I feel we should go for it.
Well, I know I'm going to differ with the four of you. Well, with the three of you. Jason hasn't spoken yet, because I know why some of these have been changed over the years, because I've been here for so long. And there's a couple of them that I agree do need changing. There's some of them that the wording is old-fashioned and needs bringing up to date. No problem with that. But and some of them, the numbers are out of sync because of how things have been added in and taken out, whether it's I's and A's and B's and C's and whatever. But I do have one of the problems with the policy one as such, because I know it's the now model says dealing with all policies, the standing orders should be reviewed every year at the AGM, as should be the policies and everything. And we have found in the past, over the years, to try and do that with all the different policies that we've got, it makes the meeting far too long. You've already asked for in here to try and keep it to a maximum of 2.5 hours. It makes the meeting far too long. And that's why we've always reviewed all our policies in November at the F&GP meeting in November. And that's one that I feel that if we do go for this model, which I think even if I vote against it, the 4 of you vote for it, it will get carried. So we will be working to it. But I do feel that come next May, because obviously this November, which we're in now, we'll have to look at certain bits of policies that need doing now, but we wouldn't be going through all our policies this November. You'd be leaving them till next May. And I think you'll probably find you've got a lot of work on next May. And I don't know whether that's actually fully fair on the clock. It's just the time scales with some of the things. We've altered the time scales because we know what works for this council, the time limits and the time constraints, like I said about the elections and all the rest of it. And when like for next year, for the money side of things, we know we'll have to have a budget meeting in January where we have to have done ours by the beginning of February, so we can ratify it at the February meeting, which gives us time for the first week to get it into the Borough Council, which means then they can go through it, they can get it done through the finance and that at the Borough Council, for the Borough Council to have it in March. That means it comes out in the April for everybody to pay the council tax or poll tax or rates or whatever you like to call it, as it's been over the years. So it's just, I'm not over keen on trying to do everything next May. So I'm just a bit dubious of how we'll make it all work. We'll probably manage it, but it's just a worry. Nigel.
So I would like to propose an amendment to the standing orders, which I sent around earlier by email, and it's the choice between two clauses which were to do with whether our council had a common seal or not. So I chose the wrong one. Talking to you yesterday, I realised that the council doesn't have a common seal. So I sent around the amendment to councillors earlier today, and I'd like to propose that amendment to my own motion. Could I get a seconder?
Yeah. Yeah,
Jason, did you want to say anything? You haven't spoken yet. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Thank you, Chair. No, I'm happy with what I heard. I'm happy to be led by the National Association of Local Councils. I think that's the right road to go down. Although I have just taken on board what you said, Stuart. But you know, ultimately, the National Association of Local Councils is the route that I'd like us to follow.
Well, fair enough then. The 4 of you wish to take that route. We will. What I will say then is I'm not 100% happy with it, because I think we could have looked at it further. And I think I would like to see that when we do it in May at the AGM, that if we haven't managed to match the timeframes and that we can revisit it and probably alter some of the timeframes that work better. It might actually revert us back to that one. I just wanted to make my point as such, because I do worry about that for the more so of the staff and what they've got to do and how much work's put upon them.
So just to be clear, Stuart, Chris seconded these standing
Yes.
orders for them to appear on the agenda.
Yes. So we are now going to work to the new DALC model that has been proposed. And obviously Stella's seconded your motion about the signatures to do with the seal as such. That was an amendment to that. And we'll have to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can. We're all quite new. Sorry, I put my hand up. We're all quite new at this, so I mean, see how it works. If it does go on, then we can maybe look at it again for the year after.
Well, that now means then that the agenda will alter for our F&GP meeting in November, because we'll have to still do our risk assessments, but we won't be doing the policies because they'll all be held over to next May. So it'll make that agenda different. Right. We'll move on to number 15. Back to you again, Nigel.
So part of this motion, this motion is essentially about filming and recording of meetings. We've got ourselves in an awful pickle over this over the past few years. So the law changed in 2014. Our standing orders still banned filming in 2018 when I asked for it to be changed, and then once I started filming, it caused huge problems within the council where many people just didn't like being filmed. Essentially, it is the law that anyone can film, and they can film without asking. And so I want to bring our policies in line with that, and that involves retracting the filming and photography meetings policy and retracting the guidance for the filming and photographing meetings. And it also involved ripping out everything to do with filming and restrictions on filming from the standing orders, which we've just done. I also, because we have had this checkered history over the past year in filming, I want us to just make it clear to everyone at the start of meetings that they can film, they can record, they don't need to ask. But if the clerk or chairman wishes to offer advice for people who do not wish to be filmed, then that seems like a very sensible thing to do at the same time. So I propose this new filming policy.
I'm looking if there's any hands. I understand where you're coming from, Nigel, on this one. I think, in all honesty, we do need to look at it in the respect of it has been a mishmash of what's happened over the last 12 months. I'm not 100% happy with just taking it carte blanche like this, because I do think the latter part of what you said there, I think we could do with some discussions between ourselves to get some proper wording, because at the Borough Council, we do have some wordings that they use so that members of the public either sit behind the cameras if they don't want to get filmed. That's when you're actually in a hall somewhere, or as is, like I mentioned at the beginning of this tonight, that people have asked, two people have asked which is the RFO, which is the clerk, if they may record it, which they are doing. So you have to actually say that people can turn their cameras off, because some people don't like the look of themselves on camera. They do have personal reasons why they shouldn't be on camera. there is a way of doing it, as you will see with some of them that are just bodies or heads here. We've got some at the Borough Council that are staff that just have their initials there. So I think we need to just be mindful of how we're going to deal with this, because of, well, it moves into part of your, the things about GDPR rules and everything, how we look after the public as well. So I don't know whether it's easier to actually say, you've brought the motion to us, should we actually look at it and decide how we're going to word it and bring it in properly as a policy? Chris?
A priority to me is to make our policy legal, and this does make it legal. We've had it basically in a legal policy, and I think the whole idea tonight is to get legal and get transparent as a council. I think that is important. We owe it to all the members of the public. And that to me is what this resolution from Nigel is doing. If we want to then have advice on how about filming from there, you know, we can do that going forward, but we've just got to get it legal, not sort of put it up, oh, you know, we've got to get it legal, and then we can look to see any sort of fine tuning going forward.
Anything from Councillor Stella or Jason? Stella?
Not really. I mean, I want it all legal and everything, but the wording is important. So maybe if we can get the new policy through and put on the next agenda, that we work on the wording of it to make sure it is how everybody, you know, so everyone can understand it and everything. So maybe just change it for today, but have it on the agenda for next meeting, that we work on, email each other, or you send us emails of what the wording you think should be in it, and we can work on that to bring it forward to the next meeting.
How do you feel with that, Nigel?
My priority is to get this passed. If the council wants to amend it in future, then so long as it's amended legally, I'm fine with it.
Jason, anything to add?
Again, Chair, no, you know, I'm happy to be on the legal side of things.
So can I make a proposal that we take on board this new filming policy, but at the next meeting, in between now and the next meeting, we get the wording right, correct, and so that we can bring it forward and add it, any amendments that need doing.
Which is the last bit on his motion, which is the clerk or chair may offer advice for members of the public who do not wish to be recorded. We need to have a proper spiel that we can use on that regularly on this meeting, on the planning meeting, or on any of the meetings that are filmed or recorded. Yes?
Yeah. Well, if you
So
know,
that's your proposal, is it, Stella?
Yeah.
Well, that's your amendment to that,
yeah.
to the motion. Are you happy to add that to your motion, Nigel?
Yes, that so that the advice for members of the public who do not wish to be recorded will be decided at the next full council meeting.
Yeah, we'll work up some proper words, and that will be decided at the next full council. Will that?
Yes.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
Is everybody happy with that? Yes, because
Yeah.
Obviously it's your motion. You proposed it. Well, Stella's proposed that we add that bit in, and you're happy to accept that as a addendum to it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll work the words up for that. I'll find out what we say. I've got it written here somewhere for the borough, which we can add to.
But
Right.
just to be clear, Stuart, the filming policy has been torn up from tonight. Yes.
The old one, yes.
Good.
I've lost me. I've lost
This
my
has
agenda. That's what-
superseded it.
Yeah.
So
Lost my
number
agenda.
16, back to you again. You've got another
Aha.
one about social media.
Yes. We've tried to look at this several times, and again, it's turned nasty and political because essentially we're trying to enforce social media rules on councillors who cannot agree on social media rules. So I say we need to figure out what the social media policy is for. I think we've got two different competing arguments within the social media policy, one of which is about councillor discipline, which we have found out over the last year we should be having nothing to do with. It's the job of the monitoring officer. The other is how the council uses social media, and I think that's what the social media policy should be. But I think we can't decide what that social media policy should be tonight, because it's a lengthy process to go through and to try and work it out what's best. So I say just scrap the social media policy for now and punt the rewriting of that social media policy to the Communications Committee.
Right, I was just going to say, as we have a Communications Committee booked and what have you, I think it's the 18th or whatever, I was going to say I would suggest that we put this one to the Communications Committee, which obviously is still going to be us five, but it will be a case of us sitting down there, and it can be one of the items on the agenda to go through it, to upgrade it. Well, I'm going to say, you agree, Stella, yes?
Yeah, because I think it should be up to the Communications Committee to work on this. It's enough to get through on the full council. So yeah, I think we need to go through the policy completely on more than one thing, not only the social media, but it's got to be done through the Communications Committee.
So is everybody happy with that? Nigel's motion is that we take this to the Communications Committee and sort it out on the 18th, because nothing can be done with the one.
So long as the current policy is retracted, because it's a complete mess.
Well, we can't use it, can we?
No, because it touches on councillor discipline. So I think we need to scrap it and then start again on the Communications Committee.
Well, you're proposing that, and Stella's agreeing with it, so I'll say we'll take it to the Communications Committee then. I don't think that, I know you're saying scrap it, but it will be scrapped because it won't be usable.
Yeah.
And we'll have to, probably some bits out of it we'll probably pick out and say that, yeah, it still needs to be there, because it'll have come from somewhere. It'll have come from some sort of background. We'll have to have a look into it. That's just some more work. Well, somewhere along the line, Sue and Stella will have to see where we're at with that. Chris?
I was going to ask Sue, okay, if it has to go to the communication, that's fine with me. But could Sue ask Dalk if they've got a standard sort of procedure for this? Maybe it's better doing it that way, doing a process of emails. Maybe Nigel and Sue and Dal can have a email exchange to see what is the thing. Because I think you have done that on other things, haven't you, Nigel?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that before. If I've got time before the Communications Committee, I'm happy to go backwards and forwards with Wendy Amos and try and work out something from their boilerplate, plus what happens locally here.
Mm.
Can I just say, we've already flagged this with DALC, and there isn't any standard policy written for local councils.
Do we need one then, really, if other councils don't have one? Should we just scrap it?
Well, I'm sure I've got something somewhere that we have to work to as the Borough Council. Would you like us to, me and Sue, just to check up on that first and come back to you?
Yeah, I think we need to discuss it at the communications. If you can try and find some information out for then, because it is communicate. It's about communication. That's what the committee's for. And if we keep discussing these other things at these full council meetings, we'll never get through the agenda.
Yeah, I'm happy for it just to go to communications, but
And then discuss it then.
This policy should not stick around for any longer than it has to.
Right.
Sue, can we put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't mind coming in and going through things with you if you want.
Right, well, so we'll get on and do that as well. So number 17, we now have a motion from Councillor Sizeland from Chris.
Yes, do you want me to go through it? Basically, as it stands, it says when a decision is made at a committee meeting at which all the members of council are present, that decision can be implemented immediately without requiring ratification by a full council meeting up to 40 for the period up to 14th of May. That was designed to sort of, most of the subcommittee meetings, the five of us are there anyway, but so it was just to make life easier if everyone was there. It's possible though. I mean, we thought there might be the odd co-option. Obviously, it's much better to have elections, but we will be going through to next May the thing. So maybe we should do something stronger. I just do with other people's thoughts.
Nigel?
I think the other way of doing this, I don't know how you feel about this, Chris. The other way to do this is to hand executive power over to committees. So say we've decided an amenities budget, which we did do in last February. We hand over executive power to the amenities committee to spend it and take decisions. Because I think it's inevitable over the next 6-7 months that one of us is going to miss a meeting, and that everything all the decisions and the implementation of them have to be delayed for a month until we have a full council meeting seems rubbish. So I say let's give true devolution to the committees.
I'm happy to accept that, because at the moment, even if somebody has to declare an interest and can't vote, we become non-quorate in the main meeting. So we could have, say, all 5 at a committee meeting, and one declares an interest and doesn't vote, but the other 4 can make a decision, as well. So I'm quite happy to accept that amendment.
Sorry,
Well,
can I just?
I'm going to say Sue needs to say a couple of bits here.
You're going to have to then amend the terms of reference, aren't you, for the committees, because they obviously at the moment the terms of reference say you've got to have any decisions ratified by the full council. For instance, the communications committee, if you remember at the last meeting, you decided you wanted all 5 people to be there to make a decision, where amenities it probably is 3. So I think each committee would just need to amend their terms of reference, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to add on to my motion now that we will change all committee to terms of reference accordingly, and that will mean we can make the decision now.
Can I make a suggestion, which is that we change all the terms of reference to say that the quorum for committee meetings is the same as noted in the standing orders.
That would do it.
Well, there's a couple of points here that because we know there is only going to be 5 of us, we can't be doing any co-options or anything. We are stuck with it till May. I think where Chris has put on till the full council meeting on the 14th of May 2021 needs to be there and stands, so that if we do alter anything, terms of reference or anything like that, it would revert back and be sorted out in May. Because from what I understand from Dalk and that is, because we're such a small quorate group of 5, we could actually do away with all the individual little committees and class every meeting as a council meeting if we wanted. But I think that would upset the apple cart too far, because you've got rid of everything then. I think it's easier to go with, like Sue said, the terms of reference, just change the terms of reference until that date next year, because obviously the terms of reference will need to come back to where they are now, because once you get a full council of members again, you'll need to put the right people who onto the right things, and you would get back to voting the full council of 13 as such.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to make too much paperwork out of it. Sue, how do you feel with that?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, some councils do just delegate, you know, to the committee to spend within the allocated budget within the terms of reference. So that's something you can do forever if you want.
So we would just need to work through the terms of references as the meetings come up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or we could do it now, couldn't we?
The aim is to get this done and dusted now. You know, and we could just do an amendment to each, just like we've already suggested to it. Adjustment.
Well, the thing is, what I was thinking on that one is, I know you've mentioned about the budget for the communications committee. Well, we come January, we've got to settle all the budgets again anyway. So January probably, if we did the terms of reference and just said to within the budget set at the budget setting in January or whatever, because we haven't got any budgets for the others at the moment, particularly, have we, Sue?
Yeah.
No, I mean that we said that they can spend up to. We haven't put a ceiling or anything on anything.
Well, on there's all the lines on the budget for, you know, for each sort of line of expenditure you could spend up to, if that's what you said in your terms of reference.
Yeah, well, I say we'd have to, wouldn't we, on that? Because that would then come into the part of whether it's capital expenditure, whether it's maintenance, whether it's repair or whatever, or renewal. So it'll have to be the terms of reference would have to be altered.
Yeah.
Nigel?
I think you're making this overly complicated. I think we should just devolve power to the subcommittees. We say that the quorum for those committees is the same as in standing orders, and we should keep this arrangement until the May meeting.
Yeah, that's what I intended. It's simple, and I think I'll propose that. I presume Nigel's seconding that. I think we should just vote on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got a proposer and a seconder, and I see Jason's put his hand up.
Yeah, I'll just, yeah.
I suppose, yeah. I'm not over happy with how it's going to be done, but we've got to get to next May somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how else we're going to do it, so I suppose
It does make sense if we're all at all the meetings, doesn't it, till May?
Yeah, as long as it's as long as we've got it there till May, and then we can look at it in May.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Sue, we'll have to sort out the terms of reference for the wording out then.
I thought what Nigel was saying was his motion here overrode that. Am I wrong?
So yes, it's that we change the terms of reference so that the quorum is the what is in the standing orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till May next year. Yeah.
Yeah. And that we have devolution.
Chris, you tried to say something there. You
also that we devolve fully to the committees as well.
right? We'll move on to.
Can I just say something else before that? I think we just need to at some point think about it, because I won't be at all those committees, and as the RFO, yeah, we just need to think about that, don't we? Because I don't think the person minuting them would have that experience to advise you about the financial position.
That's what slightly worried me. That I know I sound possibly put it in a complicated manner, but that's what it's all right. Yeah, we've got to think of yourself as the RFO who signs all these things off. That's why it's always had to come back to full council, and that's where full council have always ratified everything. I don't think, I know it's, that's why I say I have a problem with it to a certain degree, with the amount of.
I'm happy to change it according that we get it okayed by Dal. That this, I appreciate Sue's concern, but we'll maybe we just have to get that okayed by Dal.
Yeah, and we don't need to get it ratified by Dal, because what Nigel's saying is correct. It's fine. There's not a problem. But all I'm saying is you've got to be aware the member of staff that will be taking some of those committees will have no knowledge of the budget to be able to guide you, really. So, and we need to just think about how we deal with that.
Nigel?
Yeah, I agree with Sue that we just need a bit of good housekeeping. I think Chris's motion that we've come up with is good, but say that we need to agree some spending, then we just need to decide beforehand to ask Sue about it.
Okay.
Doing your homework. Sue?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes till May. Anyway, we can try it and see what happens. Number 18 is back to you again, Chris. But I believe I have it somewhere here. You have because the motion that went out with the agenda, you've revamped your motion. You wish to read a slightly different one out, don't you?
You just asked me to take the first few words out, so it basically now reads, which I kindly did for you, Stuart. It just says we resolve until further notice to have quarterly training meetings with DAL as a council as a whole. We would communicate this fact to High Peak Borough Council to the West about their concerns and are seeking a resolution. The meetings would generally alternate between specific and general topics. The word "and" got in there, by the way. The first "and" should be there.
Yeah.
This would also have the benefit of only being a fraction of the cost of arbitration. The meeting should be in the evening. So 3 monthly training meetings for the council, basically, to address High Peak Council's concerns.
Nigel?
I think this is a fantastic idea. I've been on plenty of DALC training and it seems high quality and very affordable for the council. I think there are only 5 of us and we need to be on top of changes in the law and best practice. And this is a way that we can all get up to scratch.
I'm just looking if there's any other hands up from Stella
No,
or from Jason.
I mean, I think I know I need some more training. And I'd rather go down the DALC. I've only done the planning one really, so I would like some more training to understand it better and know the law.
Well, I have actually asked at the Borough Council, being your Borough Councillor as such, that when they do some training like they have in the past for, obviously some of you been and some have got to do, some others again, code of conduct, with the planning training and different things, if we could be invited to it, that you could come along as well, because it only means like 4 extra people to the 40 odd at the borough, and they have actually said yes, they would consider that as such as their help to us, because I know Sue's been on training courses with us at the borough as well, haven't you, dear?
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with this in the respect of it's just sorting out the times and which ones and when, and if there's any others available. If the borough are actually running them, you know what I mean? So we don't duplicate.
These are just aimed to be just the 5 of us and Dal and the DALC lady.
Nigel?
I think, you know, let's agree this, and then when it comes to the first one, let's have an email conversation about what we need. rather than discussing it tonight.
Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah,
Right. With that one's a work in progress one then. When we find out what.
So we've agreed it, haven't we?
Yes, we've agreed it. I mean,
Yeah.
work in progress of finding out what Dalk have got. And we'd have to let the Borough Council know. I say work in progress. Number 19 then, I think this one is Sue, isn't it? The internal review on freedom of information requests.
Yeah, we have two requests outstanding that have asked for an internal review. If you remember, I asked High Peak Borough Council, the borough solicitor, if he would do it, and he wasn't able to due to conflict of interest. So I think the second suggestion was probably that we asked Dalk to do it. I don't know if you're happy with that.
Well, Nigel, you got your hand up?
I think we're conflicted on both of these internal reviews. One is from something which is at the early stages of litigation. The other is from someone that none of us can speak unbiasedly about. So yes, I say let's propose it goes to Dalk because we can't decide.
Any other views?
no,
Stella?
no, I'm quite happy it going to Dalk.
Chris? It's your turn.
I agree. None of us can decide, you know, and
Right then, Sue, we'll look at it going to Dalk to see where we can sort it out.
Okay.
Right, moving on. Number 20, correspondence. So over to you, Sue, with your three. I think you've got 3 correspondence, haven't you?
You've all got copies of them. The first is from Mr. Howe. And I think probably that's been addressed at the beginning of the meeting by the chairman, who spoke about the 7 members who'd resigned.
Yeah.
Then we've got Councillor Sizeland asked me to include the one about the tramway culvert in Whitehouse. I don't know if there's anything he wants to add to that.
I sent an email back that you were going to add to the to it. So I can't about it. What was that? What was happening about the culvert?
That's what you've got from the county council.
Yeah, that last one.
Oh God! So no, this is from somebody who lives at Whitehall. And then I sent. Is it? I sent a reply explaining and just said asked you to if you would stick that on the top, you know, include that in the email audit trail. So basically, it was. I mean, I've basically been chasing for. This is a culvert that goes under the tramway. Now the developer's ready to do his bit, but he's having lots of troubles with the county council, and it is getting. There's lots of people basically sending emails left, right, sent because it seems they seem to be arguing for arguing's sake, and just it's just some of us think some people at the county council have been a bit pedantic, but anyway, that is basically it's like sort of been like Star Wars, the stuff that's been flying around, because all the residents want it done, and the developer wants it done, and I sent an email only about it a couple of days ago. It's just going on and on. That's basically it. I sent the person who sent that email in. I sent him that reply and copied you in, Sue.
Okay.
All that details.
And then the final one is from this Rural Market Town group, who are asking if the council would like to join. I think they're saying because of COVID, it's going to be free for the first year. And the person who runs it has actually said he will be happy to do a short Zoom presentation if it was something that you're interested in knowing more about.
Nigel, I can see your hand up.
Yes, it's free. It looks quite interesting. Could we get him along to speak to the Regen Committee?
Yeah.
Stella, you've muted.
I was just going to say the same. It sounds interesting to me. I just can't find the email, the piece of paper with it written on. I've got that much this week. But yeah, I'd be interested in that, him having a speak.
So you'd like us to try and organise that so that we can arrange a Regen meeting where he can speak,
Yes, please, if possible.
Okay.
and then find out what it entails, whether it actually overlaps with the borough or the county, or if they're getting involved as well.
Yeah.
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 Okay, Sue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Number 21 then, we say we need to do the FNGP and the Town Hall Committee because we've got things we need to sort out. Obviously, as I said earlier, there won't be as much on the FNGP now because we're not doing the policies, and we have some monetary things we need to sort out with the Town Hall, as you will have realised when I said we got up to 9,999 on the expenditure side of things, that's revenue that's been lost. So I know Sue sent some dates round. I think we come to a consensus of the 26th, Sue, for both of them.
Okay for everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I can see a thumb up from Nigel and a nod from Stella. And
Yeah,
a thumb
yeah,
up.
26. I know. I can't.
Thursday
I
the
can't remember.
26th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday the 26th then on that one, and we'll sort out the agendas now to come out to you. as
What
such,
time?
With what?
Will it be
What,
half 7 or 7?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. What do you want to do? Do you want to do one at 7 and one at 8 as such, an hour for each of them?
Well,
Or just say, or do you just want to start at 7 and go straight into the next one once we finish the first one?
yeah, I'm quite
How
happy
do you
with
think? How long? What do you reckon, Sue? Timing wise.
Oh, well, if you're not doing the policies on the FNGP, it's just the grants and the risk assessment. So that isn't going to be that long. Yeah.
What do you want to do? Do you want to do 7 and 7:30 then?
Yeah. If we start with the FNGP at 7, yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
And then do the town hall at 7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. With that, we'll move on to number 22 now. You will have had a schedule of accounts, but we have a problem, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everything. We do not have enough signatories to be able to sign the checks for these at the moment. Now everybody has gone and left us. It leaves Sue as the RFO as one signatory, myself as another signatory. I think, Chris, you've sent a load of paperwork in that Emma has sent on to the bank to become another signatory, which has not been sorted out and done yet, as far as it goes. We're struggling. How to pay the bills. Now, I can see Nigel's got his hand up because we did ask everybody if they put the paperwork in to see if we could get more than one signatory. And obviously we haven't had the paperwork come through from other people yet. But then again, because of COVID and the bank, they're not very quick. So, Nigel.
Yeah, so have the bank given any idea when Chris's documents will go through? Because obviously you need one more person, don't you?
Yes.
And the other question that I had is, are we sure that we're going to stay the right side of legal if we're not paying the bills?
That one worries me. Stella, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just saying, I really don't want to be a signatory. I've got a signatory. I've got enough with the business and everything, and the trust fund to do, and then mine. So it's do me head in. Having time for other things. If I'm honest.
I obviously have worries about this as well, Nigel, in that respect about being legal, because we've always said we would pay our bills each month as such. What I was going to say is, if we just have a look at what we've got here, and if anybody's got any questions, or if everybody's happy for them to be paid, that, you know, there's no glaring ones that we don't want them paying, if we can get hold of the bank and find out how quick Chris can sign it, then we could actually get them paid rather than leaving them over to next month, is what I'm meaning. Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with agreeing them now and just signing them as soon as we can. But would it be so? Of the 7 quitters that disappeared at the last meeting, are any of those still legal signatories? And if so, have we made any approaches to them to ask that they sign some checks? It seems to be the least that they can do, since they've left us in the lurch like this.
Well, I haven't, and I don't know, because I haven't spoken to any of them. Who of the quitters, as you might say, Sue, were signatories that we could? Has anybody been in? Could you ask? Is there any measure in that one that Nigel's just said?
Yeah, I don't know. It might be a bit iffy, mightn't it, if they're not councillors? I mean, what we did was, when we sent the stuff in for Chris, we didn't actually take the 3 off. We've left them just in case, sort of thing. I mean, the other thing is, we're all set up and ready to go with internet banking, and we were just waiting for those people to so everybody on the mandate has to sign in to be able to access the internet banking, and of course they'd not done that. So I'm guessing as soon as we get Chris on, then we should be able to get you, me and him to sign up, so we don't even have to write checks. So it's slightly frustrating, but I'll chase the bank tomorrow and see where they're up to with adding him onto the mandate.
Just make a suggestion that if it goes more than a week or so, can we just write to the suppliers saying that there will be a delay, and just explain the reason, just out of courtesy. I do have one query on the invoices as well, by the way. I don't know if they're ready for that yet.
On the accounts, go on.
The county drains. I thought we were doing the survey ourselves or something, or the county council were doing it for us. It's just £650. It seems it's quite a substantial amount for a Memorial Park drain survey.
Right. Well, I can explain it to you, because I did call in and see when they were doing it. It's part and parcel of everything that we've agreed in the past and where we're following through and that. Yes, the county council people came in, brought the maps of what they'd gotten and everything. Half of them didn't show up and didn't exist. The county drains crew came in, and they've actually put cameras down the grid holes and the drains and that to see where things are. It's a little bit like your Mugger and skateboard park and everything, where that firm came in that's now AES, that's going to write us a proper report, so we've got a place to start from for the maintenance and what requires doing. These came in and have done this, and I can tell you, because I did speak to them, it's a case of they have actually found some that are blocked. That is why we've got drainage problems. So once they've written the report and drawn us where the actual drains are within the park, we can actually come to the amenities now and try and sort out how we repair it or sort it out, because I think some manholes will have to be dug down and find out where the blockages are. There's a lot more to this than just somebody having a look with a camera and this is what it costs to be able to facilitate that. It's not a cheap thing, but they actually map it all out for you. Chris, you've got your hand up.
Just, I'm a bit confused. I can't remember us voting for this to have a paid survey, and if we've got £650 is over any discretionary limit, if I can recall. So I mean, I thought this was a free tenders job, but also for us to actually agree for the survey. I don't know. Have I missed something somewhere? Somebody else help me out.
I think I'm trying to recall now, because I think you might have missed something there. Because if we now get this, because there isn't people that do all the surveys, it was sorted with, and I don't know whether we missed it in the respect of county council or county drains or how it's been worded. It's possible that it's been missed in that respect. But the main point of it is, if they tell us now that these are blocked and different things, we will need to go down the 3 tenders route and sort out our drainage system. It's a little bit like we said about getting people in to, and there's only the electrical people to say about the electric. Nigel, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. I think what Chris is asking is who requested this? Was it you?
Probably. I seem
You're a
to have done a
naughty
lot.
boy.
I've probably done a lot over the last month. Don't worry. I've told you we've started on the Bowling Green, and we're waiting for the electric company to come back on that one about the electric into there. So
I think, Stuart, well, what the concern is that you didn't tell any of us about it.
well, I did tell you a lot of things. I told you they'd been in and going to give us prices about fences, which we haven't decided anything on yet. It's just getting all the information together for you to be able to decide.
But getting prices and spending big money like this, there's a big difference. Getting quotes is one thing. Spending big money is another thing, Stuart.
Well, I say, I don't know whether I said yay or nay to it and whether it was in the park budget or whether it was, I honestly can't recall in that respect of whether the park keeper just, whether we just arranged it. I'm not sure now. That's what I say. So much has gone on. So if I have, I have. I'll hold my hand up to it. So, oh, well, what else? Nigel, sorry, Jason.
So regardless of who's asked for it, it's obviously it's brought up 1 or 2 issues, hasn't it?
Yes.
So will those issues now come back to the amenities committee?
Oh yeah, they'll come to you. They will. Yeah, to the amenities committee. Yeah.
And we'll take any decisions from there as a group.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brought up. It will have brought up some issues and everything. I don't think we've had a report, have we yet, Sue?
I don't know, because I've not been to any amenities meetings, so I don't really know.
No, I think it
about it. Sorry.
I think it was due to come to Emma. Yeah. Right. So where are we now? So we've got these bills that we can't pay yet. We've got to just chase up Chris on the signatory side of things. Any other questions that we can try and answer? If not, are you? Oh well, we got to pay the people. Are you happy with what's there for when, as and when we get signatories on it? Nigel?
I mean, now that they've done the work, I suppose we have to pay them, but please don't do it again.
I didn't know I'd done anything wrong, to be honest. It's just something you've highlighted. I've just been getting on with the things that we need to do and following what was left in paperwork. So I will say sorry if I've done something wrong, but I was just following things through that we've got on lists that need doing. And it was one of the things that was there. So probably had it dropped on me and not realised. So I apologise to you on that one. But other than that, are we okay where we're at with the rest of them?
Yeah.
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 No other hands. No other hands up.
No.
Right. Well, we'll just have to see what we can do with that then, Sue.
Okay.
Right. Number 3 is press releases. Now, as I said at the beginning with this one, I'm not sure with these press releases because everybody seems to know everything before anybody else with social media that's happening. What are the thoughts from some people? Because I'm expecting that they're going to say we should do something official, and I think that's why Jason's got his hand up.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to see the fact that you've decided to honour Derek Ely in the next press release, and the 2 other outstanding members of the community.
Yeah, I second that.
I don't think we should have press releases about anything else because it will take away from those 2 things, which are fantastic.
Yeah. The question is on that one, because it's press releases, I'll come back to, we haven't had a communications committee, but I know, Stella, you were interested in the communications stuff that earlier you said and helping Sue. Do you think you could help Sue? Are you happy to help Sue to put a press release together about those 3 people to go into the press?
Yeah, I'll meet up with Sue and do that.
It's just a suggestion, that's all. I don't know how other people feel.
Yeah, well, I'll have plenty of time after tomorrow, so yeah, I'm up for that.
Is everybody, because I'm quite happy that those 3 go into the paper like that and make a splash of it. Nigel, yes, I'm just looking round, yeah, because Chris is nodding.
I've been talking to Ben McVeigh about Derek Ely, and he's already got his biography and his service record, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of information off Gemma because I do a lot of charity raising for her, so I can get some info off her.
Yeah.
So it's only 10
Can the pair of you then work with Sue and make sure the stuff goes through to be able to do it?
Yeah, when do we need to do this? In the next couple of days, really, isn't it?
I've got to finish off Derek's stuff tomorrow morning. I just need a quote from you, Stuart. So if you could send me through a quote in the morning.
Right.
Or I could take one of your quotes from your speech earlier.
I'm just thinking what I said earlier because I've got it written down. Yeah, take it from that earlier, because he's Chapel's, he's a Chapel character and we all love him to bits, don't we, for his stories and everything. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you can use something from what I said earlier. Quite happy with that. Right. Are you okay with that, Sue?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Well, with that then, we've done very well there. 2 hours and 5 minutes. We've just got our part 2 bit where we have to ask everybody to leave, as you might say. We've got to resolve that they exclude the press and members of the public under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, which is item 24. So just before we go into that, I'll say thank you everybody for listening. I hope it wasn't too onerous with all the motions and the things and the explanations, but we will try and keep you informed. And thank you for attending. And if Sue can slowly
we got to
let people out. Sorry, Sue.
I'll propose that.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay.
It should just end up with 6 of us on the screen in a minute.
Sorry, this is a bit tedious. Remove everybody separately.
Don't worry about it. This is what happens under these new rules, isn't it?
We get a lot more people anyway.
Well, if it has been videoed and it's put up, like the 2 amenities meetings have been put up on that new